Network News and Instagram, NTA Network for updates. Let's start from politics with the signing of the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022 into law by President Muhammadu Buhari. Political players and watchers say the legal framework for the 2023 elections is in place. Correspondent Timothy Yusuf reports that the addition to the signed document, the Independent National Electoral Commission has also rolled out the election guidelines in earnest so that the political parties and Nigerians can fully commence the journey to choose their leaders in 2023.
For having that golden opportunity to write his name in gold and give this country a credible platform for elections to be conducted under a free, fair, and peaceful, environment.
This is a very welcome development and one of the most significant achievements of President Muhammadu Buhari. He has given back the power to the people, electronic transmission of results, which is transparency.
We want to thank Mr. President and commend him for his courage to sign this electoral bill into law. This is a journey that we started in 2012. Mr. President has signed it and put it into work. We commend him, we commend the National Assembly, and we commend Nigerian.
I want to thank the Mr. President and Commander-in-Chief of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to have appended the signature on the electoral bill. It's the long-awaited expectations of Nigerians.
And many thought it's APC propaganda, to delay it concerning the 2023 election so that it will favor them. Everyone is happy, everybody is glad.
And barely 24 hours after President Muhammadu Buhari signed the 2022 electoral bill into law, INEC has released a timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general elections. Here is Biel Ogidi with the report.
Time was fast approaching. INEC hands were tied because the Electoral Act was not signed then. The mood of the nation was that of agitation and planned protest. All these now put to rest. The bill is signed, and it was on Friday, February 25, 2022. The roads are near empty. It's Saturday, February 26th. INEC called for an emergency meeting. It was the official announcement for the dates for the 2023 general election.
The Presidential and National Assembly elections will now hold on Saturday, 25th February 2023, while the governorship and state houses of assembly elections will hold 2 weeks later on Saturday, 11th March 2023. Conduct of party primaries, including the resolution of disputes arising from them, Monday, 4th April 2022 to Friday, 3rd June 2022. Commencement of campaign by political parties for presidential and National Assembly elections, Wednesday, 28th September 2022. 6. Commencement of campaign by political parties for governorship and state assembly elections, Wednesday, 12th October 2022.
A new law in place, so new innovations also expected.
And we have no doubt the capacity is there for us to transmit results from all the polling units.
With this announcement, an era of political intrigues, manipulations, and outsmarting is here. The party flags will also soon come alive. Mayor Ogide, NT News.
Now, sorting and counting of votes are ongoing in the 6 by-elections holding in Cross River, Imo, Ondo, and Plateau State. The elections are 3 federal constituencies and 3 state constituencies.
Voters are also cooperating with them in terms of providing the requisite information and also in terms of checking their names on the wall even before coming to the polling unit. So we are elated at the type of arrangements we have made in terms of deployment, and our hope and prayer is that we are going to sustain this up to the time we sort out the votes and impute the votes of the political parties.
The machine came up on its own exactly by 8:30.
There's no any rancor, there's no hitches.
Very, very peaceful and very wonderful.
The election is going normal. No fights, no quarrel.
Exercise is peacefully. No problem. We are not fighting.
INEC have done their best because as a free voter, there was no interruption. I voted.
As the Russia-Ukraine war intensifies, the chairman, Nigerians and the Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabriyerewa, has said that protecting lives and evacuating Nigerians in Ukraine to a safer location is the federal government's #1 priority. Obiagali Ugwoke reports that the NIDCOM chairman made a statement while briefing the media on their plans to commence evacuation of Nigerians in Ukraine.
That's the current situation in Ukraine, from streets to homes. The situation is critical. Already, 100,000 of people have been displaced, Nigerians inclusive. Worried about the situation of its citizens, the Nigerian government is on a mission to rescue stranded students and Nigerians in Ukraine. The chairman, Nigerians in the Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabriyerewa, says Nigerians can use the following 4 out of the 8 borders between Ukraine and Poland. Ensure they fill the required forms and use 02953 Kosiazi 22B and 02956 Wazewa as destination address. At the borders, the Nigerian Diaspora Organization Support Group, Nigerian Embassy staff, the executives, along with volunteers, will be at the Polish-Ukrainian borders with buses and vans to pick up Nigerians.
And at these 4 borders, when they do get there, the Nigerian Embassy staff in Poland will be waiting to help them out. So there are contact numbers. Also, the members of the Nigerian Diaspora Organization in Poland, the executives, are on hand. They've mobilized to receive them. On our website, nidcom.gov.ng, there's a whole lot of information. There's a form that they can fill even before they get to Poland. It's being managed by the Nigerian Diaspora Organization in Poland. So there's a form they can fill so that they'll be prepared for them. Even when you get to Poland and you want to leave, you can leave, even for Nigeria.
The NIDCOM chairman also advised them to be patient and ensure they move in groups. Obiageli Ugwoke, NTA News.
In another development, the bilateral diplomacy between Nigeria and Canada is expected to grow, with the 2 countries set to undertake exercise of Bagame Express, meant to enhance maritime security in the Gulf of Guinea, where Nigeria plays a leadership role. Olumide Guntola reports.
Since 1962, Nigeria and Canada have enjoyed fruitful relations that cut across different sectors of the economy. To further promote these healthy relationships, especially in the maritime sector, and achieve more success in terms of security, the Canadian Authority visited Lagos with 2 of its war vessels. Acting Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Kevin Toka, who led a delegation to visit the Flag Officer Western Naval Command, gave assurance of more robust synergy between the 2 countries.
And the purpose of the exercise is to strengthen cooperation in order to improve maritime safety and security in the Gulf of Guinea, where, of course, Nigeria plays a key leadership role. The value of these operations, these exercises, is to, improve communication between naval allies, naval partners, so that we can better work together, so that we can share lessons learned, and really build a stronger foundation for addressing some of those peace and security challenges that we face, and work towards resolving some of those challenges together.
The Flag Officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Yakubu Wambai, wants more interaction to make the sea safer for socio-economic development for all stakeholders.
The port call today, as we have seen by the Canadian ship Goose Bay and Moncton, is a very welcome development to us as a nation, and in particular as a Navy. The visit today is for us to foster that relationship that has been existing in the past 60 years and to see how we can take it to better levels.
The Nigerian Navy will pay a similar visit to Canada in the nearest future. In Lagos, Olumide Kutola, NT News.
Meanwhile, freight forwarders have considered to allowing general cargo operations continue at Tinkan Island Port in Lagos, except roll-on, roll-off to give room for customs to revert to the manual valuation system. The development brokered by the Nigerian Shippers Council is to give room for deliberation on the measures acceptable for the implementation of the electronic valuation system. Michael Olaleye reports.
The cost implication of the strike has started to manifest, not only in terms of revenue, but also in cargo delivery and evacuation, a development which is becoming unbearable for the Shippers Council. This interaction is to seek respite and save the nation's economy, considering the critical role of freight services to trade facilitation. The freight forwarders reaffirmed that they are not against the policy, but its implementation, which they say is against globally recognized benchmarking on valuation.
If you punch in and bring in Toyota 2012, it will still give you valuation of new vehicle.
As a major port economy regulator, the Shippers Council is mindful of the adverse effects of a prolonged strike and therefore appealed for calm.
I will escalate this discussion and making sure that we will have an engagement with the customs at the highest levels of the customs and have a discussion with them. This is a good policy. We have been advocating for automation, but if you implement it in a way that, instead of solving a problem, you are creating another problem, then that's not the way to go. Thank you so much for coming.
President General of the Maritime Workers Union of Nigeria also came calling in response to Shippers Council's last-minute move to avoid a total shutdown of port operations from the 1st of March 2022, especially services rendered to international oil companies, IOC, who are not allowing Steve Darwin companies access on their platforms.
If the Right Honourable Minister of Transport gave an order for 7 days for the compliance and he refuses his order, it's like something is fishing underground. So we must let you all know that those people are not bigger than this country.
Entrenching security and checking extortion within the port community were also discussed. In Lagos, Michael Olaleye, NT News.
The Nigerian Communications Commission has come up with a solution that will ensure accuracy and increase in revenue generation. Chief Demand reports that the technology revenue assurance solution has been approved by the Federal Executive Council for immediate deployment to overcome losses in the sector.
Of an independent way of verifying the amount of annual operating levy payable by telecommunication operators was a major in the sector. The operators were rather billed based on the data they were making available to the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, and that has given rise to assumptions of errors and fraud. But that is about to change as the technology revenue assurance solution has been developed with capacity to capture and report in real time operators' billing activities.
We can tell how many minutes have been sent by one operator to another operator. We can tell, even without recourse to operators, to know who and who is involved in call masking and SIM boxing. We're able to store all the data sets in line with the relevant laws of the country.
We are working immediately the modalities for the deployment. One will entail looking at all items of equipment. This comply with our type approval processes, as well as ensure that the MNOs are aware of what they do, what they need to do on their part.
When deployed, NCC will be able to detect if licensees are up to date in payment or are liable to pay outstanding bills. The data that will be obtained from this venture is said to be relevant to other revenue-generating agencies. In Abuja, Chimdimma Ndubisi, NTA News.
The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is intensifying the efforts to resolve fuel distribution hitches being experienced in some parts of the country. The Group Executive Director Downstream, Adeyemi Adetunji, who monitored the situation in some NNPC retail stations, shows that NNPC has sufficient stock in the country. Lydia Sampson reports.
That the petrol queues have still not disappeared across the country, the Group Executive Director Downstream led some key players on inspection of some NNPC retail stations. He assured Nigerians that the NNPC is further engaging depot operators to load products round the clock.
Between now and March 5, we are going to get about 1.4 billion liters of petrol to also come into the country. In a few days' time, we believe that, with all these measures we have taken, and also the ample supply we have and the stock we have, in a few days' time, we should see those queues disappearing.
He urged motorists and all Nigerians to continue to be patient as the company, in collaboration with stakeholders, strive to restore normalcy in the supply chain. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
You're on to Weekend File on the NTA Network Service. Time for break. Do stay with us.
This is Gonidamgari community in Maiduguri, where the administration of Professor Babagana Umar Zulum recently constructed a network of road and drainages. Commissioned by Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, the critical road with street lighting passes through communities such as Gonidamgari, Abbaganaram, Railway Terminus, Borno Aluminium down to Borno Flour Mill Junction in Maiduguri. The road, which was started and completed within few months, is part of Zulum's ongoing urban expansion to accommodate increase in human and vehicular population for ease of mobility, to improve the environment and impact on the healthy well-being of Borno's people.
What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Millions of Nigerians have received COVID-19 vaccine. I have taken my own. What about you? We have taken our own. What about you? I am strong and healthy. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? We are strong and healthy. What are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Go get, go get, go get, go and get your job. The hospitals, churches, and the mosques. Go and get your job. Health centers, hurry up now. Don't be late. Go and get your job. Bye-bye, Corona. Bye-bye, Corona. Get your job. This message is brought to you by the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA.
On behalf of the entire federal government appointees from Nasarawa State, I wish to thank you, Mr. President, for the historic visit to our dear state. We are indeed happy to host you and proud to be associated with the federal and state landmark projects you commissioned. These are no doubt indelible legacies of the resolve of your administration. We'll congratulate the people of Nasarawa State and indeed His Excellency the Governor for successfully hosting Mr. President. Mr. President, Mohammed Abdullahi, Honorable Minister for State, Science, Technology and Innovation, for the entire federal appointees in Nasarawa State. Announcer.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic, and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Thank you for staying with us on Weekend File. The consequences of the activities of man and natural occurrences on the environment in the form of industrialization, flooding, desertification, oil spillage, and general environmental pollution inform the critical need for ecological intervention in Nigeria backed by the law. Abdullahi Ajia reports that these also led to the establishment of the Ecological Fund Office, now called Ecological Project Office, with much positive story of rescuing communities from ecological destruction across the 6 geopolitical zones of the country.
Purpose of clarity, the Ecological Fund, which recently changed name to become Ecological Project Office to address certain misconceptions, is the special intervention created to provide fund to take care of deserving ecological problems nationwide. The fund is deliberately under the control of Mr. President so as to make its utilization prompt, effective and free from some bureaucratic bottlenecks to fast-track emergency deployment. The office, which is under the Secretary to the Governments of the Federation, only receives requests, identifies, keeps records, and advises Mr. President on as well as execute projects mostly approved by the Federal Executive Council.
The peaceful enjoyment of the residents.
As opposed to the misconception in the public domain, the Ecological Project Office is one of the several beneficiaries of the federal government's share of the Ecological Fund and is not responsible for the management of the entire fund. The federal government's 1% of the fund is shared among the Ecological Project Office, National Great Green Wall, NEMA, Northeast Development Commission, and Agricultural Land Development Agency.
We will continue to work hard to address the ecological issues around the country, and the commitment of Mr. President, the Secretary to the government, Ms. SGF, for very supportive boss we have had.
It might also interest you to note that the entire Ecology and Derivation Fund is being shared among the 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local governments, with this sharing formula.
The bottom line is that at every Federal Accounts Allocation Committee meeting, such deductions are done and they are remitted to the states and to the local governments. So at the end of the day, if you have local governments attending to local ecological problems and state governments attending to state ecological problems, then the federal level would just be complementary. And then the pressure that we have as the EPO handling projects into tunes of billions of naira wouldn't have been the case.
Recent statistical estimates and analysis reveals that from 2015 to date of the Buhari administration, over 300 projects have been awarded and completed, with over 30 ongoing and new ones undergoing procurement. Despite all these commitments, a total of 2,165 requests for intervention requiring 3.096 trillion naira as at 29th November 2021 and 30 to 35 billion per annum required. The monitoring and evaluation template adopted by the Ecological Project Office to accurately track the projects is changing the story for good, leaving testimonies of commendation on the federal government.
I must thank His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for approving this road project.
On behalf of the university community, bringing this particular gratitude to you, sir, and I hope and pray you can extend it to Mr. President.
Solution is the construction of a 6x6 bus cover. So this has solved the problem of the community.
I want to sincerely appreciate the federal government of Nigeria for this great intervention.
Prioritizing the projects to give attention, the Ecological Project Office maintains is based on the critical nature of the request and political considerations. All these interventions, especially by the current administration, which at completion were handed over to benefiting communities, the managers of the project say are stimulants to socio-economic growth and development. Abdullahi Ajia, NTA News.
Now, for many years, the Niger Delta region has been the center of concern over pollution that resulted in large-scale destruction of aquatic lives, water bodies, and farms. The constant high-velocity spillage of crude oil and high rate of illegal refinery in the South-South region has caused an extreme level of degradation to the environment. In this report, Gabriel Amunike takes a look at ecological challenges of the South-South zone, government interventions, and the way forward.
South geopolitical zone is one area vulnerable to ecological disaster owing to all year-round rainfall, resulting to flooding, erosions, and other related disasters. Communities hosting riverbanks like Ogbogoro in Port Harcourt, Abloma Axis, Joint Crime Ahoda West in River State, and many communities in Ogbia-Kolokoma in Bayelsa State have often cried out over the threat of erosion, with the effect of oil exploration over the years and the recent illegal crude oil refining by the natives in the Niger Delta has posed a huge challenge in the region. Not long ago, also a community in Kolokoma, Bayelsa State. Sadly, mangroves and trees, which naturally prevent erosions, are fast disappearing, leaving communities with the hope of government intervention.
There shouldn't be any secrecy in due of reviewing, awarding, and issuing a contract. The mentality in Nigeria, they think that because the federal government has 60% equity in the share of oil operation in the country, when something happens, the oil company run to them and say, you have 60%, what do you want me to do? I have 40%. It shouldn't be so.
Projects by the Ecological Office are hardly noticed in the region, with a few projects done by interventionist agencies.
Several persons or companies have been given licenses to come up with modular refineries. But there are a lot of difficulties associated with setting up modular refineries. You cannot ask somebody to go and set up modular refineries when there are illegal refining taking place. Or people would prefer the products from illegal refineries because those ones are cheaper.
It is hoped that the purpose for which the project was established will meet the aspirations of the region. In Port Harcourt, Gabriel Amunike, NTA News.
Joining us live in the studio is Engineer Felix Okeke, Director of Soil Erosion and Flood Control Department, Ecological Project Office. Engineer Okeke, you're welcome to Weekend File tonight.
Thank you, my brother.
Nigerians are indeed excited at the pace at which the present administration tackled ecological challenges head on. Can you bring us up to speed?
Yeah, thank you. The present government, since from 2015, had done a lot in terms of addressing ecological challenges across the Federation. We, in the office, we give the President the kudos for his tenacity in approving those projects. As of today, the President had approved a total of about 309 projects from 2015. Out of those, about 239 have been completed, commissioned, and handed over to the communities. We have about 22 projects completed and are awaiting commissioning, whereas about 48 projects are at various stages of completion. And this is quite phenomenal in the annals of the Ecological Fund. Prior to this, it has not been, nothing like that has happened, and it is really a great achievement by the government to have done that. So I would say that it would really be of a great listen if we had adequate funds to address more projects as much as we would, because every part of the country is really suffering from these challenges, and we keep getting on requests. There's no village of this country where requests are not coming to us. So, and once they come, if you are sending a request to us, you are supposed to give us a preliminary design, with a bill of engineering measurement and evaluation to give us an idea of the costs, expected cost of such projects. So we capture them in our data. As at today, presently, once projects are approved, we delete them from our data. But currently, what we have in the EPO data is about 1,981 requests that are captured from various stakeholders, totaling the cost of implementing the totals about 3.12 trillion. So it's a huge challenge that it will take not less than 70 years if we are to address with the kind of funds that are coming in. It will take over 70 years
to get everything done. The major ones.
There is no state in this country who have not done 2 or 3 projects. We've done, currently there's a project in Bayelsa that is ongoing. That's about 4-point-something billion. Then we've done...
And that has to do with?
It has to do with, so this, what do you call it? Shore protection and, that kind of thing. Reclamation of this shoreline. So, we have some projects also in some other states. Some have been completed, some are at various stages. Those major projects, we have done one. In fact, currently we did a project in Nasarawa that completed about 2 or 3 major projects in Nasarawa. Those that are of large value contract sums. Otherwise, in Nasarawa we have done so many projects. Some that are in FCT we have done so many others. There's no states. In Anambra State we have about 2 ongoing projects there now. We have completed like about 4 prior to now, and 2 are ongoing. There's no states in this country who have not done about 3 projects. Some of them are major. So I have a list with me, so no state can say we have not done a major project.
Every state has a need.
Every state.
As far as ecology is concerned.
Yeah.
All right, we'll talk some more right after the break. You're watching Weekend File on the NTA Network Service. Do stay with us.
For Africa's most creative dance talent.
There is no doubt about it. Trees and other plants are so admirable, and they produce productive farmlands and water. Imagine this colossal damage. No lands, lakes are gone. Houses wash away. Migration is imminent. All this as a result of desertification. We must fight desertification by planting more and more trees to save our lands. and restore the glory of agriculture. These will ensure a sustainable food sufficiency, adequate flow of water, and peace of mind. This message is from the National Agency for Great Green Wall.
Every harmattan, he falls sick so frequently and misses school often. I keep him away from junk food.
She also feeds me apples. She says an apple a day keeps...
If you want to keep germs away, then use Dettol soap regularly. Germs and disease spread easily during harmattan. For this, use Dettol soap. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
I suppose human life has more definition to it, with the moments they share, the memories they keep, the striving that's got no limit, the rhythm they feel, and the occurrence they are never prepared for. Ouch. Life happens, but Samsung Care Plus has got you covered. To enjoy screen repairs for as low as 9,000 naira. Kindly visit www.samsung.com. Terms and conditions apply.
See, nurse, she's saying she feels unwell despite my efforts to practice good hygiene.
Mom says wash your hands to keep the germs away.
Washing hands is good, but surfaces can also have germs, and you shouldn't use just anything for cleaning them. Use Jig. Jig's formula has been scientifically proven to stay active for longer, giving you whitening and germ kill protection on a variety of surfaces. Disinfect to protect, just Jig it. Endorsed by National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives.
Environmental degradation through natural and human factors have been identified as threats to both urban and rural infrastructure, properties and livelihoods, with adverse effects on socio-economic growth of communities in Borno, Gombe and Yobe states. That is why the federal government, in partnership with states and the World Bank, are executing ecological projects, especially erosion and flood control. Mohammed Ibrahim reports.
Ecological projects are part of sustainable measures to enhance land's resources against degradation, to provide resources for human livelihood. Such support projects have been executed along banks of River Ngada and Gadabul in Maiduguri, communities in Kaga, Askiraoba, Bayo and Goza local government areas. However, the projects in Borno State, designed by consultants and certified by the World Bank, have been affected by activities of Boko Haram insurgency and encroachment into waterways with residential housing.
In the year 2021, the Ecological Fund was designed by stakeholders led by His Excellency, and a holistic approach was done to first and foremost study the reasons why the flooding was happening. And one of the reasons was the issue of the drainages within the township.
And one of the problems that we had was there were a lot of houses along this. If we are to address these things seriously, all these houses have to be removed. They have to be relocated, or else we can never have enough drainage channels that can carry away this water to the outfalls.
To checkmate the menace of desertification and socio-economic impacts of land degradation, Borno State government has planted over 300,000 seedlings of assorted species of trees to complement efforts of the federal government. From Yobe State comes a report that the federal government, through the Ecological Fund, has constructed several kilometers of erosion and flood control drainage systems in Damaturu, Gashua, Nguru, and Damagum to check perennial flooding in the areas. The ecological projects, costing billions of naira, were done in such a way that water is channeled into canals, which empty their contents into earth dams for irrigation purposes, creating job opportunities for the people and boosting economic activities in the state. From Gombe State, NUMA project coordinator Engineer Muhammad Garba said the project was able to establish wood lots, collaborated with the state government in a afforestation program across 11 local government areas of the state, which recorded great success as the trees were nurtured to maturity, including gully erosion control project covering up to 7.5 kilometers and served over 1,200 houses, as well as campus of the Gombe State University. In Maiduguri, Muhammad Ibrahim, NTA News.
Communities in Osun, Oyo, Ogun, and other states in the southwest have benefited severally from the Ecological Fund for the Recovery of the Environment. Such projects are, however, better enjoyed when maintained. What is the state of the projects, with particular reference to the Ogunba River Channel in Ibadan? Kemi Oshin 6 answers to this.
Activities have continued to result in adverse situation in various parts of the country. In the southwestern part of the country, challenges of flood, erosion, and land degradation are some of the major challenges which have led to loss of lives and properties. Government, through the Ecological Fund, have executed projects such as channelization of various rivers and waterways across the region. In Oyo State, the Ogunpa River Channel has great impact in preventing a reoccurrence of flood disaster.
I've been able to use the Ecological Fund to address the degraded site and the area, to expand the water channel in order to avoid flooding. So far so good. We have been able to utilize the fund to have a positive impact on the environment.
Before the channel did like this, we used to have flood problem often and on, especially when there is a heavy rainfall. But since it has been channeled like this, we don't experience such flood again.
Despite the impact and continued effort of government, the attitude of some residents have turned the channel to dump sites, thereby blocking the waterways.
Look at the present situation of the site. You realize that there's a serious concern, especially as it has to do with sanitation of the area. And if care is not taken, the advent of the rainy season will lead to a serious flooding.
Stakeholders have therefore called on state government as custodian of such funds to continue judicious utilization of the fund and maintain the project to ensure optimal benefits. In Ibadan, Kemi Oshin, NTA News.
We're still here with Engineer Felix Okeke, Director of Soil, Erosion and Flood Control Department, Ecological Project Office. Engineer Okeke, there is this expected synergy between states, local government, as well as the federal government in terms of maintenance of these projects scattered across the country. I don't know how far the Ecological Project Office has gone in monitoring that the projects that have been completed and handed over to the beneficiary communities are in safe hands.
Thank you. Well, I would say in that line that really what we do before now, when ecological projects are completed, they are not commissioned, the contractors work out. But with the advent of this government, we decided there's a need to carry the people along. That entailed the idea of commissioning these projects. So when a project is commissioned, we hand it over to the people, the beneficiaries. During that, we tell them the need, that is their project. Is their project they are supposed to. The maintenance of such projects lies with them. So, exactly, we are not, it's not as if we are doing a project and taking over ownership. It's an intervention, it's an assistance. So when it's done, it's handed over. So it's expected that the people who are the beneficiaries should take charge of the maintenance and the sustainability of such projects. But over the times, it's not been, we discover that oftentimes you see, even when you are still on the site, you see people, like when you are constructing a drain, they use it as dump sites. And that we have highlighted at various places where we commission projects. Tell them the necessity, because these are the things that cause flooding and all this. When you block the water line, the water will now look for a way to escape, and it causes flooding. So, but unfortunately, the people see government project as no man's project. So they don't see the benefit of them caring for that. Unfortunately, the office doesn't have a program going back to projects that are completed. One, the resources are not there for such, because all the resources that come, we don't have votes for such. Any money that is coming to us comes for is attached to a particular project. So, and it is used to execute that project. So there won't be any fund going back to go and monitor. But during the commissioning, when highlight to the people is good that they know that this is their project, this is for them. They should take charge of their project. We have also started recently that now, even before commissioning, when a project is initiated, we do flag off, bring the stakeholders together, the beneficiaries and other people. They know this is what is expected of the contractor, this is the scope, this is this, and then this is their project. So if they see anything in the course of construction, they are free to make observation either to the contractor or to the office or to the consultants. But in terms of after the project being completed, we don't have a program of going back to check whether the...
So it is entirely in the hands of those
the beneficiaries.
For whom, the beneficiaries. Yeah. But I think that monitoring and evaluation is still very important. Maybe the office should look at it. Let's look at funding, because you mentioned about many more projects that are there yet to be given, to receive attention. So what do we do about funding?
Well, it's really a huge challenge. You know, the funding of ecology, the money that comes into the ecology fund is like, presently it is a special fund. About 2.32% of revenue accruing to the federation account is set aside to address ecological challenges across the federation. And this fund is distributable to the three tiers of government. The federal government retains 1%, the state government share 0.72%, while the 774 local government share 0.6% of that 2.3 every month. Is part of the statutory allocation at the FAC. So they collect it. Incidentally, the federal share of 1% is not completely available for intervention, because NEMA takes 20% of it. National Agency for Great Green Water takes 5%. They used to take 15%. But later, after our complaints, Mr. President reduced it to 5%. Then National Agency for Northeast Development Commission, by the act setting them up, gave them 10% of that 1% of the federal share. Then, and recently, NAUDA also takes 10%. That's 45% of that 1%, leaving 55% for intervention. So that it means that the intervention we are using is just 0.55% to address. And if we are able to achieve some of this level of project implementation, it is expected that perhaps the other tiers of government should also deploy their own shares to address some of this, so that they can be able to assist and reduce the pressure on the federal government, because like I said earlier, we have requests totaling about 3.12 trillion. What comes with the low revenue coming, what comes about to the federal share is about 3 to 4 billion every month. And because of that, I had reduced our frequency of intervention.
All right. Okay, we can see that a lot of work still needs to be done, and we want to believe that from whatever way it happens, we will get to where we want to be as as ecological challenges are concerned in Nigeria. So far, thank you for coming on Weekend File tonight.
Thank you, my brother.
We'll be speaking with Engineer Felix Okeke, Director, Soil Erosion and Flood Control Department, Ecological Project Office. This is Weekend File. We have one more break on the program to stay with us.
He falls sick so frequently and misses school often. I keep him away from junk food.
She also feeds me apple. She says an apple a day keeps...
If you want to keep germs away, then use Dettol soap regularly. Germs and disease spread easily during Harmattan. For this, use Dettol soap. Dettol protects from up to 100 illness-causing germs. Dettol soap is endorsed by the Nigerian Medical Association. Be Dettol sure.
1, 2, 3.
See, nurse, she's saying she feels unwell, despite my efforts to practice good hygiene.
Mom says wash your hands to keep the germs away.
Washing hands is good, but surfaces can also have germs, and you shouldn't use just anything for cleaning them. Use Jik. Jik's formula has been scientifically proven to stay active for longer, giving you whitening and germ kill protection on a variety of surfaces. Disinfect to protect, just Jik it. Endorsed by National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives.
Judges of Nigerian Idol Season 7 are ready. The stage is set, and now it's time